Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Pregame Network podcast, the only podcast on the internet not afraid to offend anybody with somewhat accurate hot takes and opinions.
Depends on who's saying them.
Yeah, true. My name's Dan, joined by my bestest pal, Anthony, once again, to talk about stuff that's happened the past 2 weeks. We missed last week, but we are back this week. A lot of stuff going on between the last time we recorded and today. Today is July 6th. So, give you some context as far as like where we are in the timeline. Anywho, just like always, we'll start off with what we've been playing and then get into a mountain of shit that we've found over the last 2 weeks. Yes. So, I'm gonna go first because it's pretty limited for me, in my opinion. It hasn't really changed much since last week or the week before, rather. I've been basically living in the Warhammer universe. I've been just sinking a ton of hours into both Darktide and Space Marine 2 yet again, sprinkling some finals in there along with some Returnal. And I started Control, but I don't know if I'm really gonna like power through it the same way that I did with like Atomic Heart and what did I play before Atomic Heart? No, I don't know why I'm blanking on this. Maybe Ghost of Tsushima I did before Atomic Heart?
You did, you played the Wolfenstein games.
Right, yes. I don't know if I'm going to power through it the same way that I did with those two games. And I think my biggest gripe with Control is the map. The map is so excruciatingly painful to read and interpret that, like, I almost don't even want to bother figuring out where I have to go inside of the Federal Bureau of Control. It's that bad. But the gameplay is fine. The story is fine. Like, everything else around it is fine. Like, they don't make it clear where you have to go. Like, you have to rely on, like, actual, real, in-game science, like the same way you'd find in a giant office building, which it's fine for the most part, but when you're, like, following just, like, a dot on your screen that tells you how far away you are from a set objective, and it doesn't tell you, like, I'm not saying, like, I'm not looking for turn-by-turn directions here, but just a map that is easy to read, because the way that they layer their map is, like, the different stories are all sandwiched on top of each other, and there's no good way to discern what floor you're on, what floor the objective is on, where you got to go. It's just, it's there's a dot on the map and figure it out. Like, that's all it is.
Yeah, okay.
And it bugs me. It bugs me, and it's impeded my momentum in playing that game.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the extent of what I've been playing. I've been playing Space Marine and Darktide pretty equally. I'm trying to finally get my Arbites class to level 30, and I'm halfway through fully prestiging my heavy class in Space Marine 2. I'm just bouncing back between those two because they're both a ton of fun to play, although I will say I do enjoy Darktide more, just full stop. Okay. It's way deeper as far as all the combat mechanics go, and something about, like, we've played Darktide a handful of times together, so it's going to make a little bit more sense to you than somebody who's never touched the game before, but the game, like, demands your complete attention no matter what difficulty you play it on, except for maybe the lowest difficulty. You have to just be dialed in every time that you're playing, especially if it's towards the later difficulties. Like, the game doesn't let up, and you always have to be moving and figuring out, like, the right way to handle a situation, and it's part of the game's charm. And that's, if you ask any Darktide player, like, that is probably the number one thing that they would tell you, is that it just demands your complete attention 100% of the time. And if you look away for, like, a couple seconds and you're not, like, paying attention as far as where the next attack is coming from or, like, where you have to go next, you're going to get downed, and you're going to, like, throw the match essentially. But it's part of its charm, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, I get you.
So that's about it.
Yeah. As far as what I've been playing, it's been pretty much the same with little variants. So I'm going to afford myself a courtesy, and I'm just going to splice in what I said in the aborted episode last week right
Okay.
here. I'll be honest, outside of the usual with the fighting and the gacha, I haven't had too much time. I have basically 3 things lined up that once I start playing them, it's going to take up a shit ton of my time. I just haven't gotten a chance to kick that off yet, so right now it's been routine, basically. Outside of gacha and games like fighting games and things that I need to do for like footage sake for upcoming projects. It's been where it's at. But there was one game that kind of got a decent chunk of my time, and that is I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Zenless Zone Zero, one of those gacha games, right? Having finally put more time into it, having time to play it, dig into some of the side content, the story content, the overall spread of content, I have a better grasp on what it has to offer now. So I have a better understanding than last time, which is just I just kind of tried it and it wasn't really grabbing me, right? So now that I've done, I think I'm like a little past chapter 2 as far as content is concerned. Like chapter 1 is like all the lead up and kind of showing you all the systems. Basically, my take on it is a serviceable action game. I always said that, and how it was sold. It was basically, it's the Genshin guys. They have their turn based. They have their action RPG. This is supposed to be their action game, and I mean it's fun. Especially when you start getting actual decent characters and decent equipment for them. Free to play, tough to do in a gacha, but it works, especially with like the early adopter campaigns because it launched on the Xbox this month. And I don't know, like it's so weird to me because like part of me is just going, I wish there was more game, because I can't stress this enough. Compared to the other gacha games I've tried, Zenless has a shit ton of like front-loaded stopgaps. Like every other, it's like, okay, do this mission. I'm like, oh good, we're getting into the flow. I'm playing it, and then there's like a ton of dialogue, a ton of walk over here and unlock a new menu. Like there's a shit ton of menus. I thought like the worst gacha I was going to get with menus was like Girls Frontline, because that's like a strategy game, right? Or like, Genshin, because it's an old ARPG styled after Breath of the Wild. No, this action game has like so many, like, now let's sit here and like a 30-page tutorial on how to use this. It's like not intuitive at all, any of the shit. And I know that with these kind of games, it takes a while to get used to the menus, but it feels so weird having difficulty navigating and understanding the menus. I'm sure I'll get used to it if I keep playing it, but it's just... That's what struck me the most. But when you do get to play it, it's a lot of fun. It's about as simple as Genshin, where it's like you have one regular attack, one special attack, a dash attack, and the main goal, once again, just like Genshin, is you're constantly switching between your characters. I was kind of hoping like this wouldn't be as reliant on that. And don't get me wrong, the switching part is like, it's basically almost your parry button and your emergency get out of jail free card button, where it's like if you are going to parry an attack, you can either dodge it and do a regular souped up attack, or you hit the parry and the next character comes in and does a counter attack. And it's like, it's kind of cool. It's satisfying to land it, and it's nice to get use out of all these characters you build up over time. But I kind of wish there was a little bit more solidarity, and there are challenges for that. It's just It struck me as like something that it wasn't really necessary, but it could also just be that I really want a new fucking action game. But overall, now that I've kind of like I've basically tried all the gacha games I'm pretty much willing to try at this point, outside of whenever Ananta comes out, and there's a slim chance I might try the new Persona one that came out. All I gotta say is that like I really wish that we weren't in a position where like these were like the only options for quality experiences in certain genres, because I don't want to knock on Genshin or Zenless or Girls Frontline or any of these games that I've enjoyed, I've put time into. It's just the stopgaps and the fact that you're supposed to play this on mobile, and all the time gating stuff and the resources and like the weird micromanaging. Like the end game in those games is very much roll for good equipment, get the best equipment possible, and then do like mini things where you're spending in-game resources that you earn. To be fair, you earn them to like re-roll stats to min-max, and I'm not a min-max guy. I've never been a min-max guy. Like I hit like the top 90% of what you're supposed to do and I stopped there. But it's just, I'm kind of bummed out because I do like a lot of these settings and gameplay mechanics and characters, and it is a lot of fun. I'm hoping for a time in the future where AAA comes back and either takes the reins or these guys make some kind of full experience where you get everything you want out of the box. But again, all of this could just be bias, just based on my desires in these genres. But overall, it's a good time. I will say that I appreciate the differences between the different games, especially the ones from the same company, because while I'd prefer them learn from each other's mistakes, and you can kind of feel that there, you always run the risk of sameness. So I'm glad they're trying something different, because it would make juggling these games like untenable, more so than they already really are with the structure of gacha games. And just so Zenless, I'm enjoying it. And again, because of the bias or the mindset I'm in, I may have enjoyed it more because like it's almost like the closest to like that one game I'm waiting for someone to make, where it's just like I'm fighting for my fucking life, because there are certain challenges in this game where it's just like constant on the ground aggression. You got to be listening for counterpoints. There's no jumping in the game, so there's no like cheesy stuff you can do. But no, good time now that I've had time to play it.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
That was it.
Pretty much everything else is just by the numbers stuff. Like I said, I am gearing up to play like a couple things, and I'll get to that when it happens. But right now it's just been the standard rotation and working stuff on the side.
Okay.
And we're back. See? So there we go. So that's what I've been playing.
Okay. Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sure to go back and listen to how that sounds.
Yeah.
5 minutes in, I have my timestamp.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm going to kick the ball to your court for the first thing, as far as like what you want to talk about.
Okay.
Because there's a bunch of shit going on, and I'm sure you have at least one rant in you tonight. So what do you want to kick off with?
So I guess it's kind of a rant. I watched a handful of showcases over the last 2 weeks. Have you heard of any showcases? Do you have any inkling as to which ones I watched?
I want to say yes, but I could not tell you them specifically.
That's fine. I watched Capcom, Namco, and ArcSys. They all had different showcases.
Separate press, okay.
Yeah, and it really just goes like, I don't have a problem with companies coming out and saying like, hey, we're going to show off what we're working on, but like if anything, if this showed me anything, it's just that they really like we need like a consolidated event where people just agree to show it, or they just need to start shadow dropping trailers again, because everybody is basically just like, they do this whole week-long hype cycle, like, oh, we got an event coming up, you're gonna hear about these new things, maybe you'll hear about something new, but otherwise we're gonna talk about the old stuff. And it was just, all three of them really didn't need to be like a showcase, and there's multiple reasons. When I watched the Capcom one, it was nice in one way, just because they finally showed off gameplay for Pragmata, which I've pretty much been waiting like 3 years at this point for, and it was interesting enough. It's basically like, the idea is that it's a third-person action game. There's a decent amount of shooting, but like, if like in an Alan Wake, where you need to like shine a flashlight on an enemy before it's weak enough to shoot, and how in like Dead Space you need to aim for the limbs, and like different shooters have different gimmicks where you actually get to the weaknesses of the enemy or are able to hurt them. Pragmata's is that the little android that you're or the cyborg, I forget exactly what it is, that's with you, she hacks enemy defenses. So like, you're actually doing mini puzzles mid gunfight in order to be able to shoot them, and like, it's nothing too intensive from what they showed so far, but that's a neat enough gimmick to carry it, in my opinion. So it was nice to see Pragmata. Everything else was kind of like whatever. They talked about Resident Evil 9 a little bit, in a very, very rushed way, because at the end of it, like, they basically said like, there was a little sampling of what we had to show, but if you want to see more, go to residentevil.net. So they kind of like shoot it off the stage, and then they talked about Monster Hunter for like 30-40 minutes. And it's just like, I'm not about that, so it's like, whatever. It's like, if you're gonna do these big showcases, maybe give everybody equal time, or just do your own separate Monster Hunter thing. It's to the point where I've actually forgotten pretty much everything that got announced at the Capcom showcase. Kunitsugami is getting an anniversary content, which shocked the fuck out of me, because it was like their one underperforming property in like the last 2 years. So good for them. I'll probably go back and I'll play that, because it's a lot of fun. The Namco event pretty much also didn't have anything. I really just watched it because other guys were watching it, and I was kind of hoping they would do a new Ace Combat. It was just, man, if you don't like Digimon, you really just weren't serviced at all. They did a big Digimon thing. It's actually funny, the Tekken. There was a Tekken announcement where they were basically showing off the returning character from 7.
Okay.
Everybody's been laughing at this character because he's lame and nobody likes him, but Namco is desperately trying to get you to like him. And the guy that was showing this is like this kind of like pasty, limp-wristed looking motherfucker who's like on the American side of the Tekken team, and he basically everybody's running guesses that this character is like his OC, like it's his own personal like love and joy to get this character into the game. He was the lead of this this little showing for the character, and he flew out to Thailand to like meet with a guy that they got to do mocap for, and everyone's just joking that like basically the only reason this character's in the game in the first place is just so this guy can like meet his heroes and go on trips to Thailand and shit like that. So that was like the only thing of note from the fucking Namco show. And the last thing because I'm not going to recap the entire thing because they really were nothing unless you liked very singular things. ArcSys did a showing, and let me just tell you something, Dan. It surprised me when I heard about this because I'm just like, ArcSys, they've only done like 2 things of note in-house in the last 30 years. It's really all they're known for. They've done licensed games, they've a handful of licensed things. In recent years, they've gotten very aggressive with buying properties to publish them. They own or have acquired the publishing rights to a lot of classic titles like River City Ransom and Bubble Bobble, which was shown off there. Like a lot of games that were like listless and like just out and about, that were in the arcade or on the NES, that a lot of classics that weren't owned by any of the major companies are now. They have a lot of those publishing rights. So I'm like, what the fuck are they going to show? And they basically, like, the entire showing was just it was a flat line, and they showed nothing that stuck with me. It's just like, it's almost like shovelware. Like when you watch like something like the Summer Games Fest, right? You know how every like the filler in events like those is like they'll just show like a random roguelike or a top-down action game that's very forgettable. That was basically their entire showing.
That's rough. Okay.
And the one standout was like Bubble Bobble's getting a new game, which is like this really old game, but it like all the fans of this really old thing, and even people who just know what it plays like, are kind of pointing out like this isn't really what we would expect from a sequel. And the very last announcement, one of my least favorite people in the industry shows up. The guy by the name of Daisuke Ishiwatari. He's been around with ArcSys since the founding of the company. He's the guy credited with creating the Guilty Gear series. He used to be this hardcore like heavy rock metal guy. He shows up. He looks like he's aged like 10 years in the last 2 years. His hair's cut so it's all short now. He's trying to be all prim and proper, and he basically says we don't want to be known for fighting games anymore, when that's really all they've been known for the last 25 years. And then he's just like, we want to give developers an opportunity to follow their dreams. And I'm like, okay, on paper, that makes sense. It's like, he's basically saying they want to do more AA stuff. I'm just like, oh, that kind of makes sense. I don't think you guys can pull it off. And then they said, allow me to personally introduce this new project, and it looks exactly like one of those fucking filler games. It's a top-down action game, I guess you can call it, but not really. It was, the reactions to this, it was basically negative publicity. It was dog shit, and I think it harmed the company's image. Every game that was shown off there, like, it's always going to be tethered to this one awful showing and event. So my main takeaway from all of this is that not everybody needs a fucking showcase. Some really don't need a showcase, but Nintendo just got everybody hopped up on this. You have that one thing in the year where everybody comes together and announces shit, and then Nintendo can get away with doing whatever they want. Nobody else is playing with the same cards. The closest is maybe Capcom, and they're not developing enough shit. So that was my takeaway from these 3 very underwhelming showcases that I showed.
Well, that's just like
I watched.
Every major company now that is in the gaming realm, they all have their own press conferences / showcases. And what you said before of like the days of just shadow dropping a trailer and waiting for everyone to react, that's kind of gone, which is a shame, because that is probably the single best way to build the most hype for the least amount of effort possible on any product, like, period. That it's not done that way anymore, especially since the death of E3, I would say. And it's just not the same industry anymore. So it kind of sucks, but I mean, I would agree with you in large part, because even the Xbox showcase, like, I it wasn't like I was glued to the screen the entire time I was watching.
Yeah, of course.
It's not. These things are definitely self-inflated to the point where they feel. I feel like the companies feel as if these press conferences are way more important than they actually are.
Yeah.
And if you just shadow drop the trailer for a game that looks cool, that is still in development, doesn't have a release date, and no one knew that it was coming, that is definitely the best way to build the most amount of hype for, again, the least amount of effort possible. So I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to get back to that, but that's just the way it is right now.
I think it's possible, because with each passing Summer Games Fest, people are just like, man, if only there was just a big event where publishers just did whatever they want, and everyone just like responds posting pictures of E3 and shit. I think it's entirely possible an event like that can come back, like, because Summer Games Fest, as fine as for what it is, it's not the same as like an E3. I think eventually at some point we could see a return to that format, or maybe even just E3 itself. But for now, it's just this. And I just got to say, like, if these publishers, if these companies want to keep doing that, here's how you do it. You announce it the day before. You have a clear itinerary. You have a runtime at the top. Done. Yeah, you can't. Not everyone's fucking Nintendo, where you can get away with running a 45-minute hype train that'll net somebody every minute, every second. It's just you don't have those cards, and the few companies that do have those cards aren't playing with them fully, because it's just how shit the industry is. Like, the only person that could, like, the only company I can think of that could potentially do this and actually have people hype all the time is like Capcom from the 90s. And they're just not there anymore. So that's really my takeaway. It's all bullshit now. They just stop.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's gonna keep going, and we're just gonna keep on dealing with it.
I'll keep bitching about it.
All right. So let's see. What's the first thing that I want to mention? Battlefield 6. I know. I feel like I bring this game up every fucking week. So up until this point, what?
I said it's a big deal, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Up until this point, Battlefield 6 has been they've been hosting a bunch of Battlefield labs, playtesting for a select amount of people, and of course nobody keeps the NDA intact. So there's a bunch of leaks all over the internet for Battlefield 6, and I know I've said in the past that it actually looks pretty good. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a return to form for the Battlefield franchise. This past week, there have been more than one developer that is working at DICE or any of the other like 6 studios that are working on this game that basically said, like, development isn't going great. Like, we're still a long ways away from final release. Everyone on the team is burnt out and needs long overdue for a break. And it's like just et cetera on that vein of thought. And my outlook on this game has kind of changed from cautiously optimistic to kind of worried. And it's tough because, like, the gameplay that I've seen actually looks really good. I think I've said this before. It looks a lot like Modern Warfare 2019. And I don't mean to say that in a bad way, but I think that Infinity Ward created a modern military shooter that is essentially the blueprint for it's funny that they did it a second time too, but it's essentially the blueprint for every modern military shooter, or just every modern shooter now that we've seen since 2019 up until 2025 and still going forward. Like, for whatever reason, Infinity Ward happened to nail the secret sauce that made a first-person shooter so unbelievably satisfying to play. And I feel like studios are just trying to emulate that now. Now, I said before that I don't think it's a bad thing for Battlefield to be doing this, and that's because, like, I am genuinely okay with the Modern Warfare 2019 feel of gameplay with Battlefield destruction thrown in there with the Battlefield class system as well. But now that we have these insider reports saying that the game isn't actually in like that great of shape right now, we still have a long way to go. Like, everyone on the team is getting burnt out. I don't know. You have to take it at face value. So like you have to believe it. There's nothing that's going to actually 100% confirm or corroborate these reports. But I feel like this is the first red flag in an inevitable release that might fall flat on its face. On top of all of that, I don't know if you saw this. You might have. EA came out and said they want 100 million players.
Yes.
For this game. Now I tried to find context here and I couldn't. And I don't know if it's 100 million total players or 100 million like players at launch or 100 million concurrent players, which doesn't make any fucking sense. But I don't know in what context they mean this, because we've seen in the past, like the most recent example that comes to mind is Dragon Age the Veilguard, where it's not this many people bought the game. This is the engagement level of the game.
Yes.
This is how many people played it between trials and Game Pass and EA Play and whatever. I know it's not on Game Pass. I was just using that as an example.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to be too harsh in my criticism of this. It's not even a quote, but like the sentiment taken out of context from DICE, or I'm sorry, from EA. But there's no way 100 million players is happening. That's like triple the most successful Battlefield ever. That's I just don't see it happening. Even if the game is like God's gift to the FPS community. It's just crazy to me, like how they could say that, or that could hit the press without any other context in there. I don't know. I don't really have any other adjectives to describe this, but it just seems downright unrealistic.
It is a very unrealistic goal. It reminds me of when Dead Space 3 was coming out, and EA's like, this game needs to sell like 5 million or 7 million copies, and then maybe we'll continue, the series. EA.
If you're good, we might still make it.
Yeah, I think 100 million is untenable, but it's like we talked about this at some point where it's like, regardless of what the game pans out to be, EA has their expectations. They want to be able to push this and basically make it their revenue stream akin to Call of Duty and Fortnite. That's they want to tether.
Which
ongoing,
honestly, it's possible. That is a possible goal to achieve.
I think what I said is, if they had an IP in their stable capable of doing that, it would be Battlefield. That would be the card they could pull to get that ball rolling. Now, to what you said about Battlefield, where you do have some worries about it, everything I've heard, which a lot of it kind of cooperates with what you heard, whether we heard it from the same or not, I'm not entirely sure. Most of the red flags are from expectations and not from the game's current position. My understanding is the only area where like the game is struggling is apparently the single player content is not in a good place right now. That's
okay, great. That's actually like a really good thing, because nobody plays Battlefield for the single player.
Well, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
But but I mean, my understanding is EA has spent 400 million on this so far. That's where the budget's at.
What's Star Citizen at? 500?
Isn't it in the? Did it hit billions? I can't even
remember. No, I don't think so.
I might be confused.
I'm gonna find this out.
I definitely confused it with Grand Theft Auto, the million thing, because I think Grand Theft Auto is in like 2 billion or something, and yeah, 500 million sounds about right for Star Citizen, but yeah, I mean, the only negative things
you
I've
type
heard,
in Star Citizen and then you put in B after that, the first thing that comes up is Star Citizen budget. It's at it's currently surpassed $800 million.
There you go. Yeah.
As the most expensive game in video game history to create. That is just bonkers.
I wouldn't worry about that. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to...
No, I'm not either. I'm just...
but no, so what was I saying? Basically, the good takeaway here is all of the negatives are basically on the bureaucratic side, where it's like EA has very extreme expectations, but so far so good when on the development side, because apparently the only thing that's in a bad place right now is the single player. Now, as far as 100 million players being tenable, obviously depends on their scope, whether they mean like in a certain business quarter or like within the first year. I would imagine like within a year is probably what they're going for, We'll see what happens, though. I will say
Yeah,
that they do like
because the rumors, the speculation has been that we were supposed to or are supposed to be getting some kind of a gameplay or reveal trailer at some point in the summer. There
yeah,
has
that
been
makes
no
sense.
date or hint or anything to really legitimize that claim, but that is like the rumor mill around the Battlefield community was that we're supposed to be getting some sort of a reveal um, over this summer, which
Yeah,
only leaves like a month and a half.
yeah, that makes sense.
So
The what I will say is that I do think that this is probably, I guess, the most opportune time for them, just because Call of Duty is kind of on its back foot again. There's really no other shooters in the space. I believe that the Battle Royale portion of the game that's been leaked out, I think that's going to be free to play. That's what the rumors are saying right now. I
has
really
to.
do
There's no
think,
way.
yeah, I do think that Battlefield and EA, they are going to, as you mentioned and as we've talked about before, they're going to prioritize that player number. So there's going to be a lot of ways into this Battlefield, I would say. So we'll see what happens. But as of
Well,
right now,
yeah,
okay,
every Battlefield game that has ever been released that is still playable right now, it's all on Game Pass. So
yeah,
I would not put it past EA in order to hit that 100 million player goal to release it on Game Pass. You want the most players, like that is one of the ways to get it.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens because they obviously they're going to want that up front. I forget how long it took for Battlefield 2042 to hit EA Play and Game Pass. I can't remember. But
Yeah, I don't know either.
we'll see what happens and just how important the player number is to them as we get closer and as we pass release, because that'll determine their strategy. I do remember Battlefield 2042 being on there relatively quickly, not super quick, but relatively quickly. So we'll see. But right now, the upside is that of all of the detractors and negative things and red flags, it's all about expectation and not so much about gameplay.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't know that, but I'm okay with that. If that is truly the context around these claims, then I mean, fine. I just want a good Battlefield game. I love Battlefield, and that game, that IP has been in a rough spot for several
Uh,
years now. And
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so moving on from there, the next thing that I want to touch upon, kind of small, but interesting nonetheless. I have at some point brought up the Expanse game here,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a article released about 2 weeks ago, maybe a little bit less than that, from CNET, just kind of going over some. I wouldn't call it an overview, but they were interviewing a dev from Owlcat who is developing the Expanse game. And if anybody doesn't know, Owlcat most recently made Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader, which is actually considered to be like a pretty good CRPG. Um, so I'm actually pretty happy with that because they're going for like an action RPG here, and they are very very clear about their inspirations for this game. It's very Mass Effect inspired, and apparently there's also some Souls like elements involved also, which I don't really care that much about that, obviously, but for a game like The Expanse, like Mass Effect is really the closest and maybe only uh, inspiration you could probably pull for a franchise like this. Um, Even on top of that, the article that I posted in the news chat, the cover art looks like something that could be a Mass Effect piece of art. Um, I don't know if you are looking at it right now or have seen it when I posted it, but that it looks very Mass Effecty,
Hmm.
and I'm I'm actually really excited about that. Uh, anyway, going on from there, the game itself takes place in between. I think it was books 1 and 2.
Hmm.
Hold on, it's I had it up here a second ago. Um, the main character James Holden, he still exists. It still takes place in the same universe. It's not like a separate timeline or universe or anything. It still takes place within the same Expanse universe that the books and the movies take place in, and the setting of the game is, uh, I believe it's between season 1 and 2, but I have to find that to confirm. Yeah, first and second seasons of the show were the first two books. So it takes place in the same time frame that the show does, which I think is really cool because you didn't watch the show, did you?
No, but I remember you guys talking about it.
Yeah, the Expanse was. I mean, it's easily one of the greatest sci-fi series ever made. It's so good. It's so good, and the fact that it premiered on Sci-Fi is just fucking crazy to me. So, well, then Sci-Fi, and then Amazon picked it up, and it got canceled on Sci-Fi. Jeff Bezos liked it so much he bought it, and then he finished up the entire show. So, I am hopeful for the Expanse Osiris Reborn, just based on everything that they're talking about. Mass Effect type combat, like a pretty wide open RPG system. The setting itself is a plus. I love that sci-fi setting. So I don't know. I don't really have anything bad or concerning to say at the moment, but I am definitely looking forward to the Expanse Osiris Reborn. So that is pretty cool. Before I keep on rambling, if you have anything else you want to jump in with, then I am all ears.
There's only like another little small thing that comes to mind, and that is that, like, I don't know. I saw an Unreal Tech demo recently, you know.
It's not the Witcher tech demo, was it?
No, nothing like that. Just like an actual like it's like just like a video of the tech in action, right? And they showed off like easy to do water simulation, like a flowing river where they move the rocks and up and shit in the water and increase the flow of the water. And it reminded me of the old Unreal demos I used to see while waiting for different games, specifically like Gears and shit, like waiting for Gears news. You know, like stuff like the Meat Cube. You remember the Meat Cube?
I do, actually, yeah.
Yes, and I remember seeing them like, oh, the technology. And it's like, it hit me. It's like, yeah, this water in this river looks nice, much like the Meat Cube and that demo looked nice. Only with those older demos, eventually like Gears or something would come out and it would look like it did in the demo and it would run right. And I'm just sitting there like bewildered. I'm like, nobody's going to take advantage of this technology. Even like the higher ups that, like, you know, use, like, there's no Gears or Unreal anymore. Like, you know, at least Epic used to come out and make a game with the very base, the very best that Unreal had to show and offer, right? You know, it's like,
yeah.
I'm just looking at this, and don't get me wrong, it looked neat. I'm just like, imagine if somebody actually came to play with this technology, and it's just not going to happen. So, I don't know, that's the only thing. I was just disheartened again at the state of the industry.
I never, ever take those tech demos at any type of, I mean, I don't even want to use the term face value because it's not inherently deceptive, but it is kind of deceptive in the terms of gaming. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because, like, you can use these game engines to do all kinds of stuff, to make pre-rendered movies, cutscenes, you know, stuff like that, 3D art, whatever. But when you're trying to make a AAA game, or any game for that matter, that is running off of these engines, and I guess just for this example, Unreal Engine 5, the game is never, ever going to perform the way that these tech demos try to portray this engine running in quote-unquote real time. And I always fucking hated these demos because, like, they are aimed directly at gamers. And I think that the majority of gamers that are as into the hobby in the same vein that we are know better, to know that this is not a real game that you're watching play out right now. And any game that you buy for your console or PC is not going to perform the way that they are trying to convince you that a game can perform. It's just not going to happen. Like, the hardware is not there. The development resources are... The development resources could be there if they were allocated and managed correctly, but they never are. And... like, do you remember the original Unreal Engine 5 tech demo with, like, it was like a Tomb Raider type of thing, and the girl in the video was like flying around that mountain range after she raided whatever tomb that she was. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, so I'm sorry, but have any game in the last since this console generation started, has any game fucking looked like that? I'm
I want to
waiting for
say
an answer.
I'm waiting to see if there's one or two. I would need to sit down and compare it.
I'm gonna tell you no. No game has looked like that. Um, and like I really can't stand the way that these companies put out the tech demos in the vein that they do because it it is it is almost disingenuous to show the gaming community like what this engine can do, and we never get shit like that. We just never do. Like no $500 gaming console is going to run a piece of software the way that they are presenting this essentially pre-rendered cutscene of something that's just like Pixar level movie quality. Like it's just, I don't know. It really rubs me the wrong way, and I feel like it fools people into buying a game or buying a console. I don't know.
I gotcha.
I don't know. That was my little rant.
The one thing I will say though is I do actually disagree to a certain point as far as tech demos not always looking like the games, because that's 9 times out of 10 you're correct. But what my major point was when I talked about the Unreal one was there was a point in time where these kind of two things were grounded at the very least at the level of the people who hold the engine, right? Because like I mentioned the Meat Cube demo.
Elaborate. Explain.
Because like Epic makes Unreal. Epic made Gears. Unreal Engine demos and Gears would look one-to-one with each other. They made the Unreal Tournament games would look one-to-one with these tech demos. Valve made Source. They did Source Gold and Source, but they made Source, they made Half-Life. The engine's full capabilities were on display. I agree with you that a lot of the times these tech demos end up being bunk, but that's not an inherent thing. Like, there was a point in time where, like, at the very least, the people who were touting the engine would come out with at least one product that looked like that. My lament was that nobody's really doing that at all anymore, like the baseline. Like,
right. Well, that's part of my point. Like, what's the last thing that Epic made? Fucking Fortnite? Like, I'm sorry, that doesn't.
That's my point.
Hold up.
we agree on that. I'm just saying it's not an inherent thing, and it wasn't always like that. Is all I'm getting at.
But it is now.
Well, yeah, but you made it sound like it was always that way when it really wasn't.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, for the one-off game that was made by the same company who makes these engines, I will give you that. Yes, like the full capability of the engine is on display, and the people who maybe not made it but work for the same company should have the same level of expertise to make a game that looks the way that these tech demos do. They're making that game, but that's one out of how many games that are released that year, you know? Like it just it's borderline sneaky to me. That's all. I don't know.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. So I forgot what we were even talking about to set me off on this rant.
I was just talking about how I did see that one tech demo, and I'm just like, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Okay, let's see. What else we got? Let's move on. We're actually making like pretty decent time.
Yeah.
All right. So there was an article from the Game Post saying that Destiny 2 Edge of Fate pre-orders are down just about 50% from the final shape. And I was the one who posted this in our news channel, and I followed it up with this was always going to be a thing. And I say that because we are coming, like, as a Destiny fan, we're coming off of this decade-long story that they've been weaving in and out of since Destiny 1 came out. And now that the final shape is wrapped up and it's done, and that story was a bow was put on top of it, I am of the opinion that there was always going to be at least a percentage of the Destiny population that saw the Light and Darkness saga through till the end, and then said, "Okay, thanks for the good time. Like I'm done, and I'm gonna put the game down." I feel like that was always a decent chunk of the Destiny community that held that opinion, because I mean, some people can't play a game just indefinitely. I mean, I know like WoW has been around forever, EVE Online has been around forever, and they have their core audiences that'll probably never abandon those games. But I feel like Destiny might be a little bit of a different animal, and especially the way that like Bungie has been seen over the past couple years, and the way that they've been treating the game, and especially after all the marathon bullshit that's been going on, people. I think that some people are just canceling their pre-orders out of spite. Some people are just done with the IP and they want to move on, and I'm actually completely okay with that, because as it stands now, the direction they're taking Destiny in, it has the game has a new game director. Like that I think that's actually really important to say, because every decision that gets made in Destiny has obviously got to cross this guy's desk, and if he approves it or vetoes it, like that's going to have long-lasting consequences in long term for the game. Based on everything they're doing in Edge of Fate, I know I've talked about this before, they're making so many different quality of life changes that honestly the game desperately needs, and people are getting so bent out of shape about what they're doing, because essentially the changes that they're making to the gear system is kind of in a way rendering a lot of, if not most of the gear that we've grinded for the past, since Destiny 2 has come out, like 5-6 years. It's rendered most of that gear useless. Not useless, but just not as good. Like you could still get it up to power, but the way that the new gear system works, like why would you want to use something old that has 50% less perks and benefits and whatever than some of the new gear in the new gear system? And I understand that point. I really do. I don't think I've actually spoken to this like on a personal level, because I've dumped like close to 3,000 hours into Destiny between console and PC. So I feel like I am somewhat of an authority on this, especially between you and I. So people have been begging for Destiny 3 for a couple of years now, and well, what?
No, nothing.
What?
No, it's good.
No, well, no. What was that little snicker for?
No, the prospects of Destiny 3 makes me laugh. That's all. I was continue. Let me have my moment.
Oh yeah. I've learned a long time ago to just ignore these little fucking jabs you make. So people have been begging for Destiny 3, and then Marathon came along, got announced, fell completely on its face, and now the community turned on Bungie and basically said Destiny 3 died so that Marathon could also die. And I don't really know if I agree with that, because I don't think Destiny 3 was ever in the cards, to be honest. I think that Bungie has been very clear and upfront with the fact that they wanted to support Destiny 2 for the long haul, and there's like, I don't think they can make a move to a different engine to make the game like drastically better looking or play any like that much different to the point where it would deserve the number 3 next to the title. That being said, I think all the changes that they're making to the gear system and just the game overall, next week, not even like a while from now, it's next week already. I think all those changes are actually necessary. I think that the new game director, his name is Tyson Green. I think that him and other Destiny leadership, they knew from the beginning that they were going to make these changes and people were going to have shit fits across the board. But and I've said this in the past, like a couple weeks ago, that the changes that they're making, these are essentially sequel level changes in a game that you already own. You don't have to pay for any of these. It's all going to be free. The only thing that you're really paying for is the raid and the campaign. And people are losing their minds and saying that like Destiny is dead, blah blah, which couldn't be further from the truth. And I just think that all of the quality of life changes and stuff that they're doing to this game right now it was going to have to be done sooner or later, and the fact that they are ripping the Band-Aid off now is, in my opinion, the better decision for the game long term. So when I see an article that says that Destiny pre-orders are down 50% from the final shape, like, I was kind of expecting it, because not everyone's going to want to stick around for this, and that's okay. You know, like, I don't think the core audience of Destiny was going to be what it's been over the past 10 years after they wrapped up their big grand story of the fate of the universe, you know. Like, so just to stop myself from talking in circles again, I think this was always going to happen. I think that the fact that the pre-orders are down 50% should not be a surprise to anybody, and all the changes that they're making to the game are necessary changes that would have had to have been done sooner or later, and the fact that they're ripping off the Band-Aid now is the right decision. So there, my second rant of the night over.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on that really hasn't changed since the last time we talked about it. It's you know, something's got to give, because Destiny's not really in a great
but you
spot.
have no horse in the race, and you're just kind of an ear to bend. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the whole Destiny situation, like, as goes, it's been imploding for like 3 months now, and I'm curious to see. I hope the campaign is good. The new launch trailer actually looked very, very Control inspired. That's what everyone was saying online, and after I watched it, I literally thought, I was like, wow, like, this looks a lot like Control, even after I restarted the campaign. Or before I restarted the Control campaign. But yeah, man, I'm very interested to see what happens, because I don't think that they are releasing like a ton of content. I think everything that they are doing in Edge of Fate is just quality of life. It's just scaffolding that they need for the next however many years they're going to keep this game alive. So that is that. I'm not going to talk about this again. I think I'm done talking about Destiny until a few weeks from now. But I just wanted to rant about it, because I see all this Discord online about people just fucking flipping out over how they're treating the franchise and how they're recycling content for us to play next week. But like, it's not just that. Like, they're doing all these quality of life stuff changes that they have to be doing to keep the game alive and healthy. That's just my opinion, and I'm sure that people are going to disagree with it. Please talk about something else before I go into it again.
Let's talk about something more fun.
I'm all ears.
So about those Microsoft layoffs.
Yeah, more fun, huh?
Brutal, huh? Yeah. You know, you have you kept up with it? Do you know what's going on, or?
I know the broad strokes, but for both myself and anybody that is out there listening, learn me. So
they cut about, I think the raw number was 9,000 employees.
Okay.
That's about 5, maybe a little under that, maybe 4% of their workforce.
Of the Microsoft gaming workforce?
Microsoft in general, but the cuts come primarily from Xbox gaming, but also some other things like marketing and other smaller divisions were affected.
Okay.
And I think gaming overall was hit the hardest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because regardless of what happened, like, if you look at Microsoft as a whole company, when they need to make cuts, they're going to cut from the gaming department, because they see it as probably the least profitable, and both long-term and short-term. And what that resulted in is the initiative shut down, which was basically made
worthless anyway.
Yeah, they basically made it for Perfect Dark, and Perfect Dark basically went nowhere after like 7 years of development.
Yeah.
By the time we saw it, it's like, you know, they were touting it as a quadruple A game, and they marketed it in such a way where people were expecting more. And by the time we saw it, it was basically like one of those fake trailers that you were talking about before.
Yep.
And it's like, like, people are just like, oh, look how amazing the game is looking. And meanwhile, I'm just like, I'm pretty sure they didn't even know if they wanted it to be first person or third person yet. And you're telling me that this trailer is complete and done and everything you should expect, and that it looks amazing in the first place. Like, come on. Other than that, I know that Turn 10, I think, lost 50% of their workforce. The Forza
Forza, right?
Yes, they do. What else? I'm trying to remember exactly.
What didn't Rare get hit with some layoffs?
Yes. So the Rare's Everwild project got shut down. There
Yeah.
were layoffs, and then one of the last remaining like.
Well, okay, hold on. Look, I think that as far as on the subject of Perfect Dark and Everwild, when a project is in development for as long as those were, like, I'm sorry, but something's got to give. Like, obviously, the work is not getting done, or there's no fucking vision here. Like, I don't even blame Microsoft for this because what are you doing? You know, like you're spending so much time developing this. Like, what are you working on?
I blame Microsoft for letting things get to this point, because
I
like
agree,
the time for intervention is not like 7 years down the line. It's like red flags should be going off around 3 if they've got nothing done, maybe even 2. You know, based on how closely you're watching these events take place.
I would probably be a little bit more generous, just because a lot of the games that I love have had development cycles that are way longer than that, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. So the other thing I would say, the main thing with Rare is that I'm pretty sure at this point none of the original really important guys are with Rare anymore. So that's basically a completely hollowed out company. There's nothing left of the original Rare. ZeniMax Europe, I believe, had massive layoffs, and their new MMO project got canceled. Raven Software, one of the Call of Duty studios, basically got major layoffs. It was basically a bloodbath. And so there's a couple things. The takeaway, obviously, for a lot of people is that Microsoft is evil, Microsoft is the devil. I agree to a certain degree with like just letting things get to this point. I've had my gripes with Microsoft. We've talked about it ad nauseum, where I think they've been going wrong year after year after year compared to when they do occasionally do the right thing or get some excitement. The thing I will say about Everwild from Rare, the main reason that's a sticking point for a lot of people is that Phil's latest update on it was basically something along the lines of, I want to give them as much time as possible, so it's a really bad look from that. But my whole thing with Microsoft is that while the industry is in the shitter, and we've talked about this for all the different reasons, these moves, while they can potentially be a sign of those health issues to a certain degree, these changes have to do with Microsoft as a whole. Because I think the main play with this is 2 dirty games they were playing. I'm pretty sure they laid off people mainly from Xbox Gaming, but also from other parts of the company, because they're trying to push some kind of AI initiative where they want to develop more AI and get more invested in that. That's word on the street. And at the same time, it is shown that they recently applied for a shit ton of foreign worker visas. Like I think the number was like somewhere like 13,000 visas they applied for. So there's that whole, importing labor thing going on there. So it's like, it's a dirty game from the top down, while these kind of while Xbox and Microsoft Gaming is not trending in the right direction, like a lot of other people in the industry. This has more to do with like Microsoft top down stuff, which lends credence to what I've said before in the past, where I'm just like, when Xbox was doing marginally good, but it was like restrained or bad things were happening, I was telling you, I'm pretty sure it's someone at the top is putting pressure on Phil and the Xbox guys, whether it's Sarah or Satya.
100%. Yeah.
And with these recent moves for AI pushing and the foreign labor thing, I'm willing to bet most of it is from Satya. Just because he is the CEO of the company and he determines where the company goes, and it's just it's bullshit.
Well, did you see the memo that Phil put out?
What did he put out? What did he say?
I mean, I don't have it up in front of me. But
wait, that was the one where he said something like these changes will help us be more agile in the market.
Yeah, it's essentially like we're doing so well in our gaming division, but we have to lay off fucking 9,000 people. Like, it was just very tone deaf, and I don't know if he had fucking Chat GPT write it or something, but when Phil Spencer first came on board as the president, or what's his title, the Microsoft Game president, the hell is his title?
President of Microsoft Gaming, or
yeah,
something like that, or head of.
He was like universally praised because, I mean, what was his claim to fame? Like backwards compatibility. And
he
focus on smaller game studios, I think.
Yeah, something like that. The whole thing is with Phil. I give him as much credit as he's really deserved, because like I always say, like, he's not perfect. He's not God's gift to man like some people like to treat him, but he is. He was in charge during all of the good portions of the Xbox in the last 10 years. You know, he was the guy at the top of that. I really do think that while wait, go ahead.
Not, I'll give you that. I just, I think that the years and years he's been in that position, I hesitate to use the word corrupted, but something obvious, like I think he's just been in leadership for too long to the point, or management for too long to the point where like he's also starting to be worried about the bottom line to a point where like when they closed Tango Gameworks after they just put out like one of the best platformers that the Xbox generation has ever seen.
Action game.
Whatever.
It's important.
Or rhythm, also rhythm game, rhythm game. Yeah. Like I don't know. It's just.
I'm gonna like.
What are you doing after a studio releases a game like that, and like
I think
even as the boss, you praise them and then you close them like the next week.
I'm gonna say the same thing. I think time will show that on the Tango front there wasn't much value to get past that. So like, while it would optimally, you don't close any of the studios in a healthy industry, you give them that chance to fail on their own, you don't close them preemptively. It's just in that position where cuts were being made, regardless of whether it was a failing Microsoft or if it was once again pressure from the top down, that was one of the better choices, I would say. Like, but that's just me. I know a lot of people disagree on the Tango thing. The where I disagree, like the things I'm willing to, like, give Phil the blame, is shit like exclusives going to other platforms and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
I'm with you on that one. I think that I never thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
But I also so on that note, it is obvious that Microsoft has essentially acquiesced to the console war, so to speak. Like what?
People keep saying that. I don't think that's correct. It's not something that, and even if it was in the long term,
they're bringing some of their most popular games to the competing platform. They are making a handheld that you can buy, that you can run basically any storefront that you want on, just to be able to play on not Xbox but Windows 11. Like, you remember that video that Sarah Bond put out a week or two ago saying that it's not Xbox that's going to be the greatest place to play games, it's going to be Windows 11. Like, that wording was very intentional and very specific.
And then they announced an Xbox handheld.
Right, but it's an Xbox handheld, and they were very adamant on the fact that it's a Windows 11 kernel stripped down to be the best for gaming purposes. Like, all the moves that they're making are moves that are, it's not for Xbox, it's for Windows.
I guess I should change what I meant by that. What I mean to say, what I meant to say is that I don't think there is a console market to, like, lose in, I guess, is what I was getting at, because it's just like, I don't know. It's
maybe not so much anymore, but like even when the Xbox Series came out, I, for the life of me, cannot think of even one exclusive that I was like genuinely excited to get for it. I was getting the Series X because all my friends were on Xbox. My whole ecosystem of games that I played were on Xbox. Like, that was the next logical purchase for me to make. I wasn't going to buy a PlayStation and basically start from zero, even though the PlayStation had the exclusives that I wanted to play. It just, I don't know.
So I guess I understand where you're coming from. I think I'm thinking of it differently, just because it's like when I hear Microsoft's out of the console war or whatever, I'm just like, nobody won the console war. Like, the war is like, it's like, okay.
No, I completely disagree, because if it all goes by sales numbers, like, Sony beat the shit out of Microsoft
If it's about sales,
from
then
units moved.
then the console war was pointless to begin to begin with. If we had to look at it, because who the fuck cares about sales numbers?
These companies do.
I know, but like I'm not talking about. I don't give a shit about the companies or the industries. I'm talking about like looking at gaming 200 years from now. Like, oh, it's what are you gonna say? It's like, oh man, that generation was so awesome. Sony made $160 billion. Who gives a who gives a fuck?
No, I get that.
I guess
we're living in the now, not 100 years from now.
I know, but like I guess we're on two different tracks here. Basically, what I was getting at for your comment about the console war is that it's just like, okay, if it turns out,
and look,
that,
let me be clear, I fucking hate that whole concept, right? Like I was never like a console war guy. I always thought it was fucking stupid. Yeah, I don't want you to think that I am like championing.
Oh, trust me, I know you aren't. One of the first, like back when we had the original podcast, we laughed at the aspect of a console war. We didn't give a shit back then. We don't care now. But I guess what I was trying to say is, when I'm answering your question, is as far as Microsoft and not in losing the console war, not being in the console war anymore. It's just like, it's a bad thing for everybody involved because of the circumstances in which they'd be leaving and the competition left behind not having competition anymore. Because like you had mentioned, it's like I can't think of a single exclusive for the Xbox Series, and it's just like I can't think of one for any of these consoles, because it's like, what? Oh, it's going to be like,
well, you and I have two very different tastes, and I understand where you're coming from, but I mean there were at least one game on PlayStation that I was in.
Yeah, but let me conclude by saying what I meant by that is not just I can't think of a single one, but the more important thing is like is the metric then, like, okay, if we don't care about sales, because competing that way via sales is asinine, especially on a consumer level. Like if you're a consumer and you're like cheering on the sales for these companies, that's kind of asinine.
I mean, you're an idiot.
Yeah, it's like okay, Sony wins because they have 3 exclusives that never came to the PC. It's like, is that the metric that they won by 3? Like, it's, I don't know. It's I get where you're coming from. It's important to look at that, because like there's a lot of flags that say like, oh, they're not, it make, like, people are a bit hyperbolic where they say like, oh, they're dropping out of the console market. I don't see that way. I think they're going to change. Like, they've got at least one console left in them, at the very least, and they're going to make dramatic changes.
And you don't think it's the handheld?
No, I think there is going to be. I think the handheld is, number one, it's a product to get out there and build and kind of make more money off of the ecosystem they've been building. And I think it's also partially a testing bed for a console, like a normal plug-in-the-TV console of that same system running on it. I think.
Okay, so then let me ask you this: if you think they have one more console before they just throw their hands up and before they wash their hands of like the console market, what could their console be that is going to be quote unquote innovative, innovative, that like a mid-generation upgrade is not going to get them, like the only other thing, it would just be a faster GPU, like just faster internals that could get better performance. But the studios that are working on these games to put on these consoles, like, obviously don't have the fucking expertise to take advantage of this hardware. So the Xbox ROG Ally, like, that is, in my opinion, that is like a big swing in a direction that nobody else is really taking. And like, you could say that Steam is doing it with the Steam Deck, or Asus already did it with their ROG Ally. But if Microsoft is basically putting the funding behind Asus and giving them the keys to the kingdom to go into Windows 11 and heavily mod it to be the best it could possibly be for gaming, on top of having any a store platform of your choice on it as a consumer, those are all really innovative decisions for a company like Microsoft to be taking with the Xbox brand. I don't see what a console could do the way that the Series X is, that is going to be any different. Like, it all comes down to the games anyway. What are they going to do? Because when the Series X and the PS5 were first introduced, their biggest claim to fame, both of them, was the fact that they now have solid state memory or hard drives, and like the storage speeds are getting to a point where like we can do certain things in games now that were possible in the previous generation. I don't know what that looks like in another generation. So that's why I struggle to see how they're going to put out one more console if they have one more.
Well, I'm going to tell you that, and it's not going to be the right way to do it. It's basically cheating. They'll put out an Xbox PC console, and then you can buy it.
Yeah, but Steam tried that with the Steam boxes.
I didn't say
not Microsoft, but
I didn't say whether it was going to be successful or not. I'm saying that's probably their ace in the hole.
Fair.
I think that's what we're going to do. And guess what? You'll have an Xbox that has the ecosystem of the Xbox behind it. It'll have all the previous, backwards compatibility things. It'll have everything that the Series X has built up, and then guess what? You can play your Horizon Zero Dawn on there. You can play your Death Stranding 2. You can play your God of War. You can play all the exclusive, because all the moves that Microsoft has been making on the service side and over the last 6 years or so has basically pressured Sony to eventually put their games on the PC. And it won't be good. It won't be good for the industry health long term. It'll be good for the consumer in the short term, just from like an open ecosystem like that. It'd make me happy. I can play a lot of things on there. I don't have to worry about the strain on my PC anymore. But it's not what the industry needs. The industry needs pillar companies competing with strong exclusives, but I think Microsoft is poised to give it one last go with a console that'll have the ecosystem that those handhelds have now. And that'll be their and regardless of whether it succeeds or not, that is how they'll go out doing that. And and everything you said earlier, where I said like, I don't really see exclusives on the PlayStation. You said, we have different tastes. Won't matter anymore because all of those games will now be on the Xbox.
Yeah. So then, like, what's the? That all comes back to what's the purpose of these competing companies?
Exactly.
So I see what you're saying when you say that it's not good for the industry, but then. Like, that really does mean that we're fucked. Like, I don't even know how else to put it.
Very well could be.
Great.
We'll see what happens.
That's why I'm so happy I jump ship to PC.
What do you mean?
Years ago.
I'm going to be getting all those PC games cheaper than you ever did, buddy. You're going to be sitting there with your 15... How much was your laptop? How much was your laptop?
17, something like that.
I'm going to get my Xbox PC for $1,000. Or less, and I'll be able to play all those same games.
All right, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
That's what I'm saying, though. You're just like, you jump ship to the PC. It's like, okay, Xbox jump ship to the PC. I didn't have to move a muscle.
Right, so I saw it coming before they did. I win. All right, let's
and my
on,
quick resume will work on mine. I
still
still won't have to deal with the shaders decompressing and all that kind of stuff. Mine will work.
Nothing to do with quick resume.
What do you mean? Yeah, it does.
Every time I have to recompile shaders is because I either get a driver update for my graphics driver, or I'm pretty sure after like they put out like a big patch, they have to do that again.
I don't have to worry about any of that. I don't have to worry about. I don't have to worry about it.
Fuck me, I guess. I still like PC better.
No, I'm not judging you for liking PC better. It's just every time you're just like, I got ahead of the curve with the PC gaming stuff. I'm just like, what are you?
I still think that I did. Like, I just think that the internals of my desktop are head and shoulders better than my Xbox, which allows me to get a better performance out of my games. That's all.
What do you mean better performance? It runs 60 frames on my Xbox.
Right, but I can run at 200 on mine, which I like the buttery smoothness.
Nobody can see past 120 anyway. It doesn't matter.
Okay, well even then, 120 is still better than 60.
Number go up.
Yeah, exactly. Number get big number good. All right, let's see. Let's move on from that. Randy Pitchford making people mad again when he says that Borderlands 4 will take a much longer time to go deep discounts than Borderlands 3 ever did. I mean, this guy is so reactionary. Like, all the comments on Borderlands 4 videos is, I'm just gonna wait for sale for the Steam summer sale. And he's like, actually, joke's on you, asshole.
He's always been very combative, but now he's playing defensive, especially after the whole like, you'll pay $80 for this and you'll like it, and then they lowered the price wasn't $80.
They didn't have to just take that guy's Twitter account away. He's got to stop.
Some people just aren't built to be connected to so many people or have an audience that size at any given time.
Yeah.
Combative.
That was your weekly dose of Borderlands news. It's still Borderlands. It's still gonna play the same as Borderlands. I still like it. Oh, I posted this. I thought you did. EA CEO Andrew Wilson got a hefty pay bump while everyone else took home less money.
Yeah.
Fucking shocker.
Yeah,
How much did this
that's,
motherfucker get?
That's yeah.
He was paid $30.5 million.
Yeah.
And oh my god, that's so much money. For what? For making the gaming worse?
Yeah.
And somehow increasing profits for EA? I don't. Anthony, it makes my head hurt. Make it stop hurting.
Yeah, that's the corporate side of things for you. That's just, that's how it is. Everybody likes to point out the former CEO of Nintendo, and a lot of Japanese companies used to do this. It's not as common as anymore as it is, or it wasn't anymore. And that's CEOs took pay cuts in order to save entire sections of the company and all that stuff.
Well, that shit doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't. But it's like, I'm not going to be that guy that says like higher ups in the corporations should just arbitrarily have their numbers and their salaries slashed. I do think they are vastly overpaid, but it's just more industry bullshit.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. I know you have words on this. The fuck was the name of this company? Void Interactive, the guys behind a censorship scandal in the game.
The Ready or Not guys.
Yeah. I have not looked into this, so I know your passionate disdain for censorship. So I'm gonna let you take the reins on this one.
Yeah. So my understanding, unfortunately, my computer isn't really capable of running Ready or Not, and it doesn't really seem all that optimized. So that's like kind of out of I haven't experienced as much of it as some people have. What's the best way to put this? My understanding of it is that there were a lot of censorship elements put in place based on the upcoming console release, where essentially I think it's like they're toning down gore, nudity, certain content, and basically all this is being done to clean it up for the console release. But a lot of the people I know that have played it, and my understanding of the entire purpose of the game is to kind of show the seedy underbelly of these types of crimes and these types of criminals and everything like that. So I mean, you pointed it out right at the beginning. I'm not a fan of censorship. I don't care what purpose it's for or anything like that. It's a betrayal, I think, to the fan base, because there's no, like, even if you needed to tone it down for the console releases, why are you retroactively doing this to the PC release?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a weird decision.
Yeah, they're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, the very nature of this game is like, you're playing as SWAT officers going into wherever you're going into to save hostages from a really bad situation.
Yes.
And that is never pretty, right? So like just going based off of like, if you were to put yourself in that situation, or like how would you write that situation into a game or whatever, to make the decision to censor something like that it's just strange. Like, what was your goal? The
goal is to get it on console. The goal is to get it on consoles.
Is that what they had to do to get it on console, though?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what they had to do. It's because of the upcoming console release. And like I said, it just doesn't make sense for them to put that back onto the PC side of things. Was
that like Microsoft and Sony saying, "Hey, you can't have this"?
I think it was the company themselves mentioning it in a forum post that alluded to the fact that it was being changed for consoles.
Weird. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Bad decision regardless, but okay.
Yeah. And it's just like I said, I'm not for censorship of any kind. It sucks. It's awful. It's abysmal. And like I said, it's really a betrayal to the ideas they presented and the fans that they had over time. There's just no need for censorship. And I say this with my usual 95% absolutism. Censorship is never okay. So just don't do it.
All right. Let's see what else we got. We already talked about Perfect Dark, and the whole Xbox debacle going on. Touched on Battlefield. Let's see. Firebreak. I mean, I don't even know if this is what we're talking about. The game didn't launch great. Everyone knew that, and they're redesigning the perk trees apparently. I don't think that's going to save this game. Them releasing a live service shooter, it was just a weird design decision from the get-go. I don't know. I feel like this game is just going to die sooner than later, but that's just me.
I agree.
Although I will say, I mean, you and Harrison were playing it this past week, and some of the objectives in the level designs they weren't bad. You know, like they were actually like a decent amount of fun. Maybe overstayed their welcome a little bit too long, but I don't know. I have a soft spot in my heart for like co-op, objective-based co-op shooters.
Yeah,
That's just me.
No, I get you.
What else? Okay, something that I definitely wanted to talk about. Hey, actually, you surprised me with this news. I didn't even see it until you posted it. Fucking Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That is wild. That game came out a year ago, last February. I think it's been a year already. Sony exclusive, also released on PC when it dropped on PlayStation, but no warning or like inkling at all of it coming to Xbox.
Yeah.
Both like PlayStation players and Xbox players have been begging for it to go to Xbox, and they just never said anything about it. And
this is also the first directly published by PlayStation Studios.
Yes, that's another big one.
The thing going to the Xbox, so.
Yeah. And motherfucker, I hope you know you're going to get this game. We're going to play together.
For sure.
You knew this was coming, right?
After all the hype and talk about it, I saw it coming.
Yeah, you're definitely getting this, and we're definitely going to play together because Helldivers 2. I am genuinely happy that it is going over to the other side of the aisle. Like, there's no reason, especially when the entire population has been begging for it. You know, this is only a net positive for everybody involved. It's not like it's a lose for anybody. Yeah. This is so good on so many levels. They're gonna. I said this to you after you sent it. What were my exact words? They're gonna double their player base overnight.
It's gonna be big.
August 26th rolls around. Yeah, it's gonna be big.
Yeah.
And this is gonna help them realize their Helldivers 3 commitment sooner rather than later, I think.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think so too. I will say, like, we talked about earlier how I'm of the opinion that companies should have exclusives, and they should be strong exclusives, and they should build a library of exclusives. That doesn't
Helldivers was never one of those.
Exactly, because that's what I was getting at is Helldivers was definitely one of those things that was kind of arbitrarily just locked as in an exclusive way, similar to Stellar Blade. Where like there's just last minute marketing deals. So, to kind of see this, done with and, go over it, it's good.
Yeah. That was probably like my most excited thing to talk about. This episode. It was that you posted that. I did a double take when I looked at my phone. I was like, I'm sorry, fucking what? Like, that was like, oh my, happening. This is not a drill. So, I mean, there's not like a whole lot to say about it. I'm just so happy that this is actually coming to fruition. Let's see what else we got. I think you were touching on this before about Greg Malis, who is he worked on Banjo and Kazooie and Sea of Thieves. He's leaving there after 35 years.
Yeah, there's not much more to add to that. It's furthers along the point that, Rare had already gone through quite a few things where they lost a lot of people, a lot of the the old heads that were with the company for a while, and these two leaving, or this one specifically leaving, is like kind of like the last holdout from like the really important people that were around for a while,
Yeah. Okay. Destiny Rising officially launching.
Yeah.
I'm not really excited. I'm probably gonna. I'm probably gonna, at least give it a fair shake, to the extent that I'm actually able to. Like, those touch controls are fucking awful. I would have to buy one of those controller clips, or like one of the controllers that had the clips attached to them, so I could comfortably play this game, but I don't know, man. And I've said this before, a lot of stuff that NetEase is adding into Destiny Rising, people have wanted in Destiny 2 for the longest time. Even like the different game modes that they're including in this, way better than what is in the core Destiny 2 experience right now. I don't really want to harp on this too much, but I didn't really know when Destiny Rising was releasing. I think it kind of caught me off guard. So, yeah, I don't know. It's coming out August 28th. We'll see how it performs. I know the entire Destiny community is like begging and pleading for them to port it to PC, but it's never going to happen because that would take a bite out of Bungie player base too much.
I'm not sure. I mean, that might be the only thing holding it back, because nowadays, like, a lot of mobile games of that nature, like the ones that have, you know, microtransaction elements or gacha elements, or just mobile games in general and sister games, a lot of them, like, the turnover time for a PC port isn't as high as it used to be. And at the same time, games that were exclusive to the phone for like 3, 4, 5, 6, however many years there's been like almost like a little bit of a deluge recently, where like a lot of these mobile games that are in that space competition wise, where like they're vying for your time and your money in that field, have been coming to the PC. So I think the incentive might be there for Bungie to have a little bit of give, but time will really tell, you know.
As a once upon a time pretty hardcore Destiny player, I don't see them allowing that to happen, if that makes sense.
No, I get I get where you're coming from. I'm just saying, like, every other barrier has kind of cleared out. It would really just be Bungie having as tight a grip on it. Yeah.
It would take away from, like, you know how long that the Destiny community has been asking for akimbo guns in Destiny 2?
Yeah.
And then this fucking mobile game comes out of nowhere and adds it. Like, they own the place. Like, the disrespect. So I just don't, like, Bungie is never going to step aside and let NetEase bring Destiny Rising to PC. It's just never going to happen. So, oh well. Let's see. It's one of the last things here. Well, okay, so sticking with Destiny Rising, they hit 5 million pre-registrations ahead of their August launch, which is a good number. But, you know, who knows what that looks like a week after launch or 2 weeks after launch. It's going to drop.
Yeah.
So, okay, last thing that I guess that I have here for news, unless you have something else after this. BioWare is officially shutting down Anthem as of January 12th of 2026, which, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't already, but if you were to say to me, Dan, what is the biggest wasted potential of your gaming career you can think of, I would say Anthem. That game was so much fun, and they could have had their No Man's Sky moment. They could have had their Destiny 2 moment, like the same thing. Like, Destiny went through times where Bungie almost shut the game down in both games. What's another good big comeback story? I know you don't agree with. That's another one. Anthem could have been something special, and it's just a shame that it wasn't. It was probably one of. I think it was probably more addicting gameplay wise than Destiny, if maybe just rose tinted glasses, but it was so much fun.
Anthem deserved better just from the gameplay alone. I mean, it's kind of special for us because, like, we
almost
kicked this off, you know, with Anthem, you know.
That's true.
And
it almost seemed as if the guys who created the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer mode, like, BioWare came to them and was just like, go nuts. Like, what do you want to make in a multiplayer game? And then that's what they came up with. That is what it seemed like, because it was like the fundamental gunplay and abilities in Anthem was very reminiscent of Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. And even like if you go back and play Mass Effect Andromeda, it's very similar to that also. Like I swear it was just like the guys who made that multiplayer mode for the Mass Effect games just went fucking nuts, but they just didn't know how to execute a live service looter shooter title. And then that was the kiss of death, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, no, it's really just you had mentioned a ton of success stories with rebounds and stuff like that. I mean, that coupled with the fact that it's been online this long, it just boggles the mind why they didn't give something with such promising gameplay like another shot. My understanding, and this might be a topic for another time, my understanding is that there was some kind of 2.0 in the works for a long time, and it was unceremoniously like cut off by EA, and they
teased it for a long time.
Yeah, I mean there was a point in time like that was like the big rumors like EA's gonna or BioWare's gonna come right around, and they have fixes. They heard all the feedback, and it's just like it's a shame that never did. There's so much shit gets like multiple second chances and just a bunch of bullshit, and they hang around for longer than they really deserve. But it's like Anthem had gameplay worth saving in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
Well, you know, so many looter shooters get released on the market, and so many of them die like very soon after launch. And it's because a lot of them, they're just missing that secret sauce of what makes a game just genuinely fun to play. Like I'm not when I play Darktide, for example, I'm not playing Darktide to get good gear anymore or like level up my character. Like I've done all that already. Like I'm playing Darktide to conquer the game, essentially. Like complete the runs on the most challenging difficulties that are available to me. And it's just because I like the way that the game feels. It's just that much fun that I'm my free time into it and invest, you know, countless hours into the gameplay because I just think it's that much fun. Anthem was one of those games. Like it was just so much fun to fly around, play with your friends, and it didn't get the chance to, no pun intended, spread its wings. You know, BioWare, EA just, I mean, look, I don't know what went on behind the scenes, but they ultimately decided that it was easier to just abandon it and move on, and now they're going to shut the game down, double down on it, and turn it into something special. And it is just so much wasted potential. It could have been. Oh, I'm talking in circles again.
I get you. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just a shame. So, January 26th of 2026, they're gonna shut the servers off permanently, and then that'll just be another game, you know, in the grave that will never see the light of day again, and nobody will be able to play it. It's just sad, man. It's just sad.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah. And look, for someone like you to say that about a game like Anthem, like that speaks volumes to me, because you are not a looter shooter person.
I'm not. No. It's a fun third-person shooter with great, and people have kind of like this is like the term they use for it. It had great Iron Man flight. That's what people are saying about it. If you needed to add a term, that would be the term. And it's just like you had like a brief story where you unlock some things, and then it's just like there was a content drop off that was basically a cliff.
Yeah, there was just no end game, which was really the thing that killed it. Anybody that played easily could have gotten over the lack of story or the shitty story, but once you made it to the end of the story, there was no end game to chase. And that's just not how a looter shooter live service game is going to survive and thrive. Like there's really nothing else to say. I'm just talking in circles again.
I get you.
Yeah. So that really sucks. It's another sad day in the gaming. But hey, if Game Informer can be resurrected, maybe something can come along and save Anthem. Doubtful, but maybe.
Yeah.
But let's see. That's pretty much everything that I got. I mean, usual, but you didn't really chime in.
It's because there's a lot of big stories that are like still developing, and I'll probably have more to say about them next week, just because it's been a bit of a whirlwind for a couple things, and it got lost in like all the major stuff that we missed. So
Okay.
the only last thing I really have to say, and it's less of a news, it's more of just a comment, a note, if you will. Today is the 25th anniversary of the best game ever made releasing.
Final Fantasy something.
Final Fantasy IX came out 25 years ago today. Best game ever made.
I knew it.
And there's been a lot of...
Best game ever made, huh?
Best game ever made, and there's been a lot of buzz, and they did some celebratory stuff. There's like little art books and picture books and shit where kind of actually add some more lore and shit around it, which is cute little things. People are talking about a potential remake that's been rumored and teased and leaked for years now, and I am not looking forward to those prospects. So I'm just gonna close my eyes and hope nothing happens in the next week or so. That'll just disappoint me. We'll see what happens.
Spoiler alert: something's gonna happen.
Probably, but that was just the light at the end of the tunnel this week is you can reminisce about the God's gift to man coming out 25 years ago. And if you haven't played it, go play it. Anyone who hasn't played it, it is a magical, whimsical, great, fun game.
I know I will never be able to make it through that game. I know. Not my type
when
of
I
game.
die, I want you to cash in all the guilt points of not having it anymore and play that game. It is a magical little thing. When you mellow out.
You know what, Anthony? If you kick the bucket before I do, I will play Final Fantasy IX until my eyeballs fall out.
Oh, wonderful. Where's my rope?
Where's my rope? You sick fuck.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Next week I will have some finalized things, because there were some other big goings on in the last 2 weeks but it's like there's stuff going on with that Stop Killing Games movement. There's
yeah, I honestly have no idea what that is. I don't want you to get into it now,
yeah,
but
I
do want you to explain it to me next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it sit. We're kind of at the end of a certain threshold there, so like by next week we'll have more things to talk about with that. A lot of stuff going on in the fighting game and Smash community, but it's like the fighting game and Smash stuff needs to settle, because it's like kind of like an earthquake. You gotta wait for it to stop before you like look for the bodies. And with the Stop Killing Games thing, it's just we're at a threshold, and it's just only now big companies are starting to chime in with their opinions. So let's just no need to rush into it.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can educate me next week.
I most certainly will.
What the hell's going on with all that?
Yeah.
But if you got nothing else, I think it's time to wrap this bitch up.
That's all I got.
Well, if you are still sticking around and you're still listening, thank you very much for listening. This was episode 62 of the Pregame Network. We will be back next week to talk about any of the other bullshit that goes on in the gaming industry, because we love pain, apparently. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and see you next week. Bye.
Scrooge.